Hello, Virgo. Last night happened. I'm not going to ease into this because this energy doesn't ease. It lands. It has been landing actually since sometime around the hours when the world goes quiet and the only things left awake are the things that refuse to sleep. Someone was awake last night, not by choice, by you, by the specific, relentless 3 in the morning quality of thoughts that have your name running through them like a current through wire. And on the other side of all of that, something in you is shifting, growing, taking up more space than it did last week, last month, last season. These two things are connected. We're going to talk about how take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If you felt something last night without knowing why, subscribe because Virgo is exactly where that kind of thing gets named. Let's go. 3 in the morning, that's where this starts. Not as a time, as a state. The state of a mind that has surrendered its daytime architecture and is now moving through the raw material of what it actually contains. No agenda, no performance. No careful selection of which thoughts are permitted and which are redirected towards something safer. Just what's there. And what's there in the unguarded hours of this particular person's night is you. Heavy. That's the word in the title, and it's the right word. Not light thinking, not the casual flicker of someone who briefly remembered you and moved on. Heavy the way certain objects are heavy, the way things with actual density feel different in the hand than things that only look substantial. This person has been carrying the thought of you with both hands, has been turning it over in the dark, examining it from angles the daylight doesn't permit, letting it be as large as it actually is without the social pressure of daytime to compress it into something more manageable. What does it feel like to be someone's 3 in the morning thought? Not a rhetorical question. Sit with it. There is a version of you that exists only in other people's perception of you. You don't have access to it. You never will, not fully. You move through your days experiencing yourself from the inside, the ordinary, unromantic, fully textured inside of your own consciousness, with all its doubt and fatigue and the constant small noise of self monitoring. You know your own hesitations, your own off days, the gap between who you are in your best moments and who you are when no one is watching and nothing is required. This person doesn't have access to that version. What they have is the version that reached them, the impression left, the specific quality of you that passed through the filter of their perception and settled into something, an image, a feeling, a constellation of moments that their memory has been arranging and rearranging ever since. And that version, the you that lives in their night thoughts, is not diminished by their distance from your interior. It is, in some ways, more vivid, freed from the self doubt that colors your own experience of yourself, freed from the qualifications you would apply. They are thinking about a version of you that you would not entirely recognize. Bigger, clearer, more certain of its own edges. And here is the strange thing, that version is not inaccurate, it is simply unobstructed. Power, not the performed kind, not the loud kind, not the kind that announces itself and requires an audience to confirm it exists. The other kind, the kind that grows in the dark, that accumulates quietly in a person who has been doing the work, the invisible, unrewarded, no one is watching work of becoming more precisely themselves. More difficult to move, more rooted in what they actually know rather than what they have been told to believe, less available to dynamics that once had purchase on them, less willing to bend the shape of themselves to fit spaces that were never designed for their actual dimensions. That kind of power has a smell to it. Metaphorically, it has a quality that other people sense before they can name it, a subtle shift in the gravity around a person. The way you notice without quite knowing why that someone is different, that the air around them has changed, that something which was previously pliable has become not hard, not cold, but set. Like clay that has been fired, still the same shape, but now it holds. You are firing right now in the kiln of whatever you have been moving through, whatever has been demanding things of you that you did not know you had, whatever has been burning away the versions of yourself that were assembled for other people's comfort rather than your own truth. This person felt it before you did, possibly. That is how it often works. The shift in someone registers first in the people around them, in the changed quality of how it feels to be near them or to think about them, before the person themselves has fully named what is happening. Something changed in how you occupy their imagination. Something that was familiar, that had a known weight, a known texture, a known place in the internal landscape they had constructed around the thought of you shifted, became heavier, more defined, more present in a way that the daylight management of their life could not contain, and the nighttime finally stopped trying to. So the thoughts came, heavy and unscheduled and not entirely welcome in the way that things which disturb a carefully maintained equilibrium are never entirely welcome. They came with the specific insistence of something that has been patient long enough, that has been waiting for the unguarded hours when the gates lower and what is real can finally move without permission. What moved through them last night was the accumulated weight of every impression you have made, every moment that registered, every time something about you, the way you held a particular silence or said a thing directly when indirection was expected, or simply existed in a room with a quality of presence that their system quietly noted and stored, every one of those moments arrived simultaneously as a mass, as a recognition. Oh, this person, this person is not who I understood them to be. What does power actually do to the people around the person growing it? A few things. None of them comfortable. It disorients because the version of you they had filed, the categorized, predictable, known quantity version, stops matching what they are perceiving. And the mind, when its categories stop working, does not rest. It works harder. It returns to the data. It examines the inconsistency between the stored version and the current evidence. This is what keeps them awake. Not longing, not romance, the raw cognitive discomfort of a category that no longer holds. It attracts, not always gracefully, The attraction that comes from witnessing someone grow into power is not the soft attraction of familiarity. It is more like the pull of something that moves with its own gravity, something that does not need to reach toward you because its mass is sufficient to alter your trajectory without trying. And it humbles in the specific, private, 3 in the morning way of someone who realizes without any external pressure, without you having said or done anything to produce this, that they may have underestimated something, may have been operating from an assessment that was made in a different season and has since become obsolete, may have missed something or dismissed something or taken for granted something that the current evidence suggests should not have been taken for granted. That realization is what made their night heavy. You didn't know any of this was happening. That's the part that matters. Whew, you were asleep or trying to sleep or moving through your own version of last night, and somewhere in the world, without your knowledge or your participation or your consent, someone was conducting an internal reckoning with the fact of you alone, in the dark, with all of their defenses lowered and none of their daytime composure available, sitting with the specific weight of something they have been trying to keep at a manageable distance, and finding again, for what may be the 100th time and the most undeniable time, that the distance is not holding. That is the intimacy of being someone's heavy thought. More intimate in some ways than anything that happens in the light, because the light permits performance, the dark does not. Whatever happens in someone's 3 in the morning is their actual interior, their actual response, the thing they would never show you in the curated, managed, socially presentable version of their engagement with you. And their actual interior last night was full of you, growing in power. It doesn't feel the way it sounds from the outside. From the outside, power looks like confidence, like ease, like the smooth, frictionless movement of someone who knows what they want and where they are going and encounters no significant internal resistance on the way there. Watched from a distance, it looks like a quality someone either has or doesn't, static, innate, delivered at birth, or withheld. From the inside, it feels like confusion that is slowly clarifying, like grief that is completing itself without having been asked, like the strange, disorienting experience of finding that certain things that used to hold you, certain fears, certain needs for approval, certain reflexes toward smallness, are releasing, not because you worked to release them, because you grew past them, because the person you are becoming doesn't fit inside the shape they require. This is not comfortable. Let's be clear about that. Growing is not comfortable. The kiln is hot. The process of something setting, becoming fixed, becoming itself, involves a quality of heat that the thing being fired does not experience as pleasant while it is happening. But the result is something that holds. Here is what I want you to understand about the connection between these two things. The person thinking heavily about you and the power you are growing into. They are not separate events. The thinking is a response to the growing. Their night was disturbed because something they could feel even at a distance, even without direct contact, through whatever channels people use to perceive things about each other that operate below the level of ordinary communication, something they could feel has changed in you, has solidified, has become more itself and less available to the version of you they had constructed for their own purposes. And the growing, the firing, the clarifying, the slow and uncomfortable process of becoming more precisely you is not happening because of them, is not a strategy, is not aimed at producing this response in this person. It is happening because it is time, because whatever you have been moving through has done its work, because something in you decided, in whatever private way decisions of this kind get made, to stop maintaining the smaller version. They sensed the decision, even without being told, even without a single word exchanged. They sensed it the way you sense a change in barometric pressure in the body before the mind has assembled language for it. And it kept them up last night. Whew, it already happened. It is already in the past, already woven into the history between you and this person, even though you were not there for it, even though you will never have direct access to it. But it left something. It always does. A night spent in heavy thought about a person leaves a residue in the thinker, in the dynamic between them and the thought about. Something loosened that was held tight, something acknowledged in the privacy of the dark that the daylight version of events had been refusing to acknowledge. That loosening is going to show up somewhere in behavior, in the quality of contact. If contact comes in the specific way they look at you or speak about you or orbit you the next time proximity becomes possible. The night's work doesn't stay in the night, it migrates into the body, into the eyes, into the involuntary adjustments a person makes when they have done a reckoning and emerged from it changed. Watch for it. Not hungrily hunger makes us see what we want to see rather than what is, but with the particular quality of attention that power makes available to you. The attention of someone who is no longer desperate to interpret, no longer needing a specific result, no longer reading the data through the distorting lens of what they hope it means. Just watching clearly from whatever the new ground is that you are standing on. One question, not rhetorical this time. What do you do with the knowledge that you are growing, that something in you is hardening into its final form, that the firing is happening, that the person you are becoming is already perceptible to people around you, even before you have fully perceived them yourself? Nothing. You do nothing with it. You don't perform it, you don't announce it, you don't shape it toward any particular person or any particular desired response. You simply continue. Continue the becoming, continue the firing, continue the slow, hot, uncomfortable, absolutely necessary process of setting into yourself. The effects of that will show up on their own, as they already have. Last night, in someone's dark, in the heavy, unscheduled, utterly unmanaged weight of thoughts that would not sleep. You did that not by trying, by becoming,